So we keep talking about being a trusted business advisor. Would you classify yourself, your company, as a trusted business advisor to the VARs?
You know, that's a great question. I think we would.
I think if you didn't, you would be really wrong, because you sure are.
Yeah. But you know, what we don't do is we don't get in depth into each vertical. So whether the VAR is an MSP, or they're in digital signage, or they're in cabling, or they're in AV, or in their break fix, you know, we don't get in depth to teach them about their industry. We believe that they bring that knowledge to the table, but what we do is we help them with their business practices. We help them automate manual processes to make it easier. We help them get their bills out faster. We help them track their sales. We help them execute their marketing. We help them make sure all of the implementations are going along on time, and they make sure that all the service work is done in an efficient way, so that they can manage through it and nothing falls through the cracks.
Boy, you're like, oh, it was going so fast, you finally got ahead of yourself.
I did.
So would you say it's fair? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about that.
Okay.
Overall, good business people, bad?
VARs, I think they're great business people. They just don't know it sometimes, and you have to help coach them there.
Good salespeople?
I think most VARs are great salespeople, but again, they need to be coached there. They may not have it in their blood. And by the way, usually a person who's a great salesperson is not necessarily a good business person. And so they need to learn a little bit more.
And their marketing?
I think most VARs are not that good at marketing. And I think that's an area where the coaching really helps, that we talked about earlier.
Technology.
I think they better have experts on staff that are experts in their vertical.
Do you think most of them out there now are good at technology?
You ask hard questions.
I know, we keep getting to that.
You know, I think that's just a really hard thing to answer. I think that a lot of them have expertise, you know, and as new technologies are coming along, the companies that are investing in learning about the new technologies, and not trying to learn about all of them, but finding the ones that they can specialize in, and then finding partnerships. I mean, that's one of the things we haven't talked about here, is really the partnerships. You need to have partnerships where you aren't an expert, that somebody else is.
Absolutely.
And especially now with all the convergence of all of these other technologies with IT, you know, you've got the video guys wanting to put things on the network. You've got the surveillance guys wanting to put things on the network. You've got the sound and lighting guys wanting to put things on the network. And all of that together, you know, it just makes it really hard to be an expert everywhere. So you need to have your partnerships too, so that you can be the advisor, but you have your team to back you up.
Yeah, I think that owner has to be a really good manager, and that doesn't just mean his own staff, but it means his customers, his partners, and so on.
Right. So wait a minute. Let me turn this around on you. You've asked me a lot of questions. What do you think makes a really great VAR manager, or a guy that runs a VAR business?
I think most of the things that you said, probably all. I think that one area that we didn't talk about, I think they really have to get dialed down into their customer, not so much from the nuts and bolts like you were saying. I agree, they don't have to get there, but they have to know what apps are the right apps for their customers. I think that's where they're going to be showing a ton of value, is in that area. And I think they have to learn to stop selling product and start selling solutions. And I think that's a huge thing for them. I would have said,
you know, that's why we bought Autotask has the VAR Street solution, so that we can bring the product side and the services automation side together with both VAR Street and Autotask. Exactly the reason. And
I think that you do. So if you would have let me finish, you would have said I would have come right around to that, and I would have said, I don't think the VARs are good at business. I think they're terrible at it, or they were. I think that they're even worse at selling, and even worse than that at marketing. I think they are fabulous on the most part as technicians, because if you think about it, before all this stuff came along, did you ever hear of a company saying, we went out of business because our technology didn't work? These guys, I'm not saying the right way, but somehow they always make stuff work. And their dedication to service and support is phenomenal. That being said, without companies like yours, that's where I was getting to, but you just didn't want to let me get there. Without companies like yours, I don't think that most of the VARs that are out there today would have been able to make the transition to where the industry's going. And you know, quite frankly, I hate to say this because I don't want to make you swallow your head or anything, but it's the companies like yours who are really far more important nowadays in a lot of ways than the hardware companies, because you can replace them a lot easier in a lot of ways than your companies. And that's what's allowing it. If you think about it, I'll pull one item of what you said. The average farm, and the best that we could have, best information we could have gotten over the last few years, their billing cycle was somewhere between 6 and 9 months after they finished a job.
Wow.
Think
you know,
about where
in comparison with our product, it's usually 30 days. And some of them are doing bill immediately.
I was just going to say, some of them are even doing now billing ahead of time.
Right.
Most of them. Like, I mean, they're getting their money, so that's, so you go from let's take the best case scenario, 6 months.
Right.
They were billing in 6 months, maybe collecting in 12 months, 18 months, because they had nobody doing it, to all of a sudden billing in -1 month.
Right.
Like,
so you take a product like Autotask and you set up the recurring contract, and at the first of the month it goes through, pulls out everything there. And the other thing we can do, which is pretty cool, is we can roll everything all up on one bill. So you take all of the managed backup and the mailboxes, and you take the break fix work that you did the network management and all of that, you put it on a single bill, you push the button and it goes out, and you know, you're going to save a lot of time and energy too, because you're not sending 5 bills or 8 bills to that one customer. You can roll it up into one.
So there are two things that I hear in the industry all the time, and not from the people who come to the Breakaway shows, because they're usually the larger bars. They know what they're talking about. But you know what? How many of them are there? Maybe 4,000, if we're lucky, 5,000 that really are moving ahead properly. There's about 12 or 13,000, I think, who have taken some kind of dip their toe in.
Right.
But the two questions I get from the smaller bars, like when I go to a smaller show or into wherever it happens to be, is one, well, I don't want to do managed services. This is ridiculous. We've always done it. And I go, really? And how have you always done it? How we got a home bill today? You know, and I go, really? And how does it do the billing for you? Does it, like all the things we've been talking about, you know, and the answer is, oh, we don't really need it. The second question is, I'll say, well, what about the recurring revenue? And the answer I get over and over and over again is, well, we don't need that. Our customers pay us on time. We go, really? Do you bill them on time? And you get into this with them, and they look at it and they go, Robert, you just don't understand the industry. So I need to ask you one question before we end this.
Okay.
Am I totally wrong, or are they totally wrong? Like, is this not an absolute necessity for them?
Well, frankly, you know, I guess, you know, I have to say it is an absolute necessity, but it really comes from the bottom of my heart. It really is. They've got to automate the business process, because look, let's just say the guy's doing all of the things that he talked about and he said it's working. The best case scenario is it's going to work better and he's going to get his life back. That same guy probably doesn't have a lot of free time. When was the last time he probably took a vacation and could get paid while he was on vacation? You know, all those extra hours he stays up at night trying to figure out how to create those bills, and then the time he has to go chase down the money.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a few friends who are bars, and most of them have been in bars for years and years, and they don't want to change. And you know what? I've told them, don't make plans to walk with me anymore. And they said to me, well, why not? And I've said it to 3. There's 3 bars in particular who I know really well, I socialize with. I said, because 95% of the time you cancel on me because you have an emergency. And you know, quite frankly, when there was no other options for you, I understood, and I said, okay, now there's other options, and you choose not to do it, not to take them. I really don't feel like having to cater my life around the fact that you're too pig-headed.
So you would agree, it's really, even if they don't want to build a giant business, it's around the quality of life and efficiency.
It's around everything. This is, and I'm not saying it because I'm talking to you, and I'm not saying it because I need managed services itself. I'm talking about the concept of where we're going. It's going to evolve. It's going to be all different than what it is. but it has given them back a life. You know, it's the first, like in 30 years, it's the first time we've ever had a VAR network that can actually do a great job and have a family life.
I agree.
On that note,
thank you so much. It was
Anytime.
really a pleasure.